Hello friends and welcome. Today is April 20th. Today is April 30th. We're finally going to take the snowplow off the C8 here. And I'm going to take the dual wheels off also. And what I plan on doing today is we're going to put the Mulcher brush hog mulcher on this tractor here. And last year we had the orange brush hog on here that we use all the time, and I was having a problem with it. The PTO kept on popping out of gear here. So what I did was I put this lock on here, so when this is engaged I would just slide this down to the to here to keep it locked in. I don't like doing that. That's not a safe thing to do, for one thing. Even though it does have a kill switch here in case you had to like kill it really quick. Alright, so when we had that one blade in the previous video, it was way out of balance. The blade that we had on the orange brush hog, way out of balance. And the reason being was on one portion of the blade here was really rusted out. I guess it was the way somebody had it stored. Anyway, I had to grind. Where are we here? I had to grind quite a bit off here to get the blade balanced. So I got the blade balanced. So the two blade setup on this mulcher here doesn't vibrate at all. So that was one problem. Then another problem was that the tractor itself was vibrating a lot, and we corrected that by adjusting the carburetor. I don't remember if it was running too lean or too rich. I really don't remember. But alright, so this is a model LI. It's an intermediate speed tractor. Like the ground speed is like intermediate between the LS and the Model L. And that affects the way the PTO, the speed of the PTO goes. So this is based on like a Model L, but it's a C8 model. The reason why it's a C8, it has a 2-speed differential here. Alright, so at any rate, the ground speed is faster in high gear, which means that the blades are going to turn faster on this one than it did on the LI. So, two tests. We want to make sure that it stays locked in gear. The PTO stays locked in gear without slipping out like it was doing before. I'm just going to remove this for now. I'll take this off and we'll see how it does. Seems like it's locking in pretty good. So between the two vibrations that it had, I'm hoping that it just stays into gear good. Otherwise, there's something with the PTO linkage, the shipper shaft in there. I had it apart once. There's like a ball and a spring in there. Everything seemed to be alright with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do one side. I'll set you up, and what we're going to do is we're going to pull the two tires off and the spacer, and then we'll be using these outboard tires on the inside. I'll show you the easiest way to do it. Putting the dual wheel adapter and the inner wheel on is another story. I think I did a video on that once. It's a little bit of a pain to do, but we're just going to take everything apart and just use these inner wheels without the spacer. Let's take a walk in the field here. I did want this to grow a little more. We tested the Mulcher brush hog, I don't know, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and there wasn't that much to cut here, but it rained the last 2 nights hard, so everything's gonna be wet. This is the highest spot here. And we do have some high spots here. Yeah, it's wet. And I just want to see how the mulcher works. If I don't like the way the mulcher works, then I'll end up putting one blade. I'll take one blade off this and put it back on the orange brush hog that we use here all the time for testing tractors and keeping a little field cut here. I guess that's about it. Later on, we're going to, after this video, this has an oil leak coming from the rear. I do want to dismantle the whole tractor and restore it, but the first thing I want to do is try to find an oil leak on it. Once I take the plow off this and the plow mount, I'm going to end up putting the plow mount on here. And I'll put the plow on here because this way I could jack the whole, I want to jack the whole tractor up. This way we could clean the transmission and the engine real good. And we can see, I want to pinpoint the oil leak and repair that. I'm pretty sure that if the tractor just sits without running it, it'll leak. So I want to make sure of that too. Because sometimes you'll run them and then you shut them off and then you'll see that it's leaking. But I think in this case it leaks all the time. I didn't check the oil stain in here lately. Let's have a look, see. It's leaking pretty good, pretty bad, however you want to call it. Sometimes I don't park it exactly in the same spot. So I'll check the oil on that. And like I said, in an upcoming video, we're going to clean it and tear it down as much as we can to see where exactly the oil leak is coming from. Since the tractor has to be taken apart anyway, because we're going to restore it, I want to try to do it before it gets too hot out. And alright, so let's get to work. And for now, what I'm going to do is I'll just do one side of the tires with you. I'll unbolt this brush hog, and then I'll show you how to put it on. These are easy to put on, and I'll be right back. Okay, so you want to make sure you leave an attachment on the tractor so you can jack it up. First thing you want to do is loosen all the bolts. Well, there's 3 bolts that hold the outer tire onto the spacer. So you just got to make sure you get the 3 right bolts, because the other 3 bolts are for the split rim. It's a nut and a bolt that holds the rim together. These tires are ready to explode any minute. If you use a power tool, then you don't have to worry about, you just jack it up and then remove the wheels. Oh, I probably used the air ratchet the last time I put these on. I think I made a video on how to install a whole dual wheel setup here, but since we're not doing that today, then we're going to have to do the same thing to unbolt the spacer and the inner tire. There's 3 bolts there that you'll have to loosen. Okay, so you got 3 bolts here. 1, 2, 3. I doubt I can loosen them without letting it track. Oh no, I can. See, we get them all like that. That's in a way not good. I probably didn't tighten them up. I tightened them up enough to where they were okay, but well, you can actually leave the bolt in there. Looks like the homemade chains held up pretty good. Looks like a couple may have shifted, like this one shifted, but it doesn't matter. That's why I try not to spin the tires when I'm plowing, but sometimes you can't help it. Got one more bolt here. Okay, we got that. All right. They're a little heavy. I don't know how many pounds they are, the spacers, and they're also considered weights. Held there, the tire held there. But we just have a little bit of shifting going on here with the chain. I'm just going to leave it like that. I mean, it didn't lose any grip or anything, so I'm not worried about that too much. Okay, then you're going to take the short bolts that held the outer tire on, the spacer, and you're going to use them to mount the inner tire here. And the easiest way to do this for me is, I think if you have a shallow 3/8 socket, I think you'd be alright with that. But if you're using something like this, you see how the bolt just falls all the way down in there? Because these are short bolts. I guess they're about a 1/2 inch. So what I do with that to start the bolts, the best way, I use a 1/4 inch drive, 9/16 socket, and it just goes up to there. This way it's easier to handle to start your bolts. I'll check the air on the tires when we're done. I'm only going to show you how to do it on the one side here. I might jack it up a little more because some of you already know how my eyes are. I hit the bolt hole so it's all the way up here. Sometimes you can take a Phillips head and just stick it in there through the rim and the hub. Another important thing I want to mention, those of you that own these old Graveleys, and I have had this happen to me, the axle nut here, always make sure they're tight. My 61 Graveley that I was plowing with since 1985, I got rid of it about 4 years ago. Anyway, the nut came loose. It ended up stripping out the hub. Luckily, I had an extra hub, and luckily it didn't strip out the axle. So I was lucky with that at the time. So you want to be careful with that. Trying to start these bolts with your fingers is like a real pain. I mean, you could do it. I just did it, but can get all your bolts started. I just snug them up the best I could, and then I'll let the tractor down and I'll tighten them up all the way. And like I said, after I do the other side, I'll check the air in the tires. Since these tires are ready to explode, they're dry rotted really bad, I'll probably just put like 12 pounds of air in each tire. Alright, I just want to show you one more thing before we continue. If you ever have to do tire work, wow, this wheel's heavy. With these chains are heavy that we made. Alright, if you have dual wheels and you're using the spacer and you're putting this on the inner, if you could see right to the right of the valve, you always want to leave that hole empty and then just do every other bolt from then on to hold the rim together. Otherwise, the slot in the spacer won't clear the valve because there's a slot in the spacer. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. Then we'll pull the plow off and we'll put the mulcher on. So I'll be back to you. Okay, so the baloney skin tires held there, surprisingly enough. Okay, so you're going to pull the two pins out that hold the plow to the plow frame here. Okay, so this here, over the years, even years ago, I had problems with these cotter pins. They were rusted and broken, and this is the main pin in there. And what I did was, I went to Tractor Supply, and these are 3/4 inch. So I bought 3/4 inch bolts that are 6 inches long, and I just put a lock washer and a nut. That's what I have on the other tractor, because I got tired of fighting with these cotter pins. They used to break all the time and the pin used to fall out. So I did that. And also what I did was, this is the angle to plow with, and it usually has like a T pin with a T handle on it. I don't know, God knows how many of those I broke. So what I use is a 3/8 drive, 6 inch ratchet extension. Works great, never broke one since I've been using it. So I got the jack under the back of the tractor, so you just pull the plow right off here. And then, like I said, later I'll put the plow mount on the 57 grade because we're going to have to jack that up and stuff. Alright, so this has, usually I just work with 4 bolts to bolt the attachments on. This one has a stud here and the stud on this side, and that's to help you line up the attachment to get it on there. I never had a problem with that. I'm gonna have to use a 3/4 inch deep. I don't know, some of you that just joined the channel may be interested in what I'm doing so far here. I'm gonna have to get a 3/4 inch deep socket for that. I think this is it. Yeah, that's it. Getting jammed up here. So I don't like using these studs. I'm not really crazy about this. I like using bolts. Just bolt it on. It's not that hard to do. I'll worry about throwing this plow mount under 57 later. I don't know if I misspoke before, but I was telling you about the hub. They got stripped because the axle nut came loose. It was a 61 Gravely, and I bought it in 1985. And that's what I was trying to tell you before. Maybe I told you it the right way. I don't remember. Okay, some of you might have seen when we put the brush hog mulcher on the 57 that I might have had it stuck in gear a little bit. The PTO must have been on partially and it was all jammed up. I'm going to take this stupid thing off now. I'm taking off that clamp I was telling you about before. Get this thing off here. Long story short, you want to make sure the PTO is not engaged. It's all the way disengaged. Ever since we put the Mulcher system on this thing, it's heavy. And the dual blades, it's a little heavy and a little awkward to work with. But I'll do the best I can here. I think you're in pretty good view there. You know where to grab it. You're on gravel here, which sucks. Jeez. ready to go to bed already. I want to know how many times I'm going to pinch my fingers on the ground. It's pretty much on there already. And it's sitting flush in there. So now we'll put the nuts and the bolts in. So if the PTO is slipping out of gear, I don't have any parts for it. I don't know what I'm going to do. The parts are pretty expensive. Anything you buy with the title Gravely, you're going to pay a lot of money for. Oh boy. I checked the oil in the tractor, the oil's fine. We didn't leak out any hydraulic fluid in the gearbox. The only thing I'll have to do is check, make sure we got gas. And we'll take it out in the field and try it. If anybody has any information on this Mulcher system we put on this, I can't find anything on the internet. And the reason why I'm concerned is you see this front piece practically goes to the ground. Now when you're using it for leaves, aren't you going to be just pushing the leaves, plowing them, let's say? Or do I have this thing on wrong? Is it supposed to go on the back of the machine? I don't know. I really don't know anything about it. And I can't find anything on the internet. I even looked up old Gravely attachments. I probably have a catalog laying around somewhere. Not quite sure where. But if anybody has any information on that and you want to leave me a link, please. I'd appreciate it. I think we're just going to use a wrench for this. Let's tighten them all up with a wrench. I like crisscrossing. Like I did this top one here. I moved this, so I don't know if you could say anything. Alright, so we're just going to use a wrench. And I like crisscrossing them. I tightened this top one up. Now we'll go to the bottom here and do that. And then go back to the other side. Okay. Double check this one. It's tight. I'll tighten this one up. That's tight. And that's it. Air pressure in the tires are fine. Never lost any air. We checked the oil like I said, and we checked the gas. And it's all ready for summer mode. And I'll meet you out in the field. I just made one pass over here. And I did it in low gear. The PTO stayed in gear. But now we're going to use high gear. Like I said before, the blade's going to spin faster than it did when it was on the Model Li. So let's see what happens. See how the mulcher works. And make sure the PTO stays engaged. PTO is staying engaged so far. I'm not so sure if I like this. Because when I make the first pass, it's folding the grass down. Because it looks to me like the Mulcher adapter is too far to the ground. But then when I back up with it, it seems to be alright. But I need to do some more investigating on that. Alright, I'm just going to go back and forth here and try to cut some of this. See how it does. Let's see. That should be pretty good. Well, there's no vibration. We'll take a walk around here and see what you think about the cutting of it. These holes are clogged already, it seems. Like I said, the grass is pretty wet here. I know if you're just supposed to mulch dry leaves. I don't like to just sit down to the ground like that. It ran smooth. It runs really smooth. So I think last year when we had that one blade on there that was way out of balance, I think that's what was knocking the PTO out, and the fact that the engine was vibrating because we had to adjust the carburetor to smooth the engine out. Sorry about that. I don't like doing it this way, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm just not liking that it's folding the grass down like it is. Didn't leave any clumps or anything. Cut pretty low. Although the grass wasn't that high anyway. Not bad. I still gotta do this. I'll do it off camera here. Some spots were high, some spots were lower. This, not good. Oh no, I didn't back up. I don't think I backed up that far. So I'll just go ahead and knock this part out here off camera. So yeah, I'm glad it's not popping out of, I should have known better last year. I put some kind of stupid spring on here last year. But then, if you remember, whoever follows the channel, I had to change the battery mount to put this hood on. And I took that spring off. So, there's actually nothing wrong with the PTO. It locked in and stayed in. So, we're good with that. Alright, so about the other tractor, the 57 Gravely, I'm going to get set up for that. And we'll have to clean everything off real good. I might have to take it apart to do it. I want to see if it'll just leak oil just sitting there without having to start it. This way we could disassemble it and clean it up real good and try to see where that oil leak's coming from on it. And we'll get on that. I'll get my work truck. I got to pull some stuff out of it, and I want to clean the tarp that I have in there real good, because I want to everything has to be clean, because we're going to be painting parts, and I usually use that as a dryer to dry the parts. It gets really hot in there. So we'll get started on that. Well, I hope you enjoyed this portion, and if you guys were interested in the beginning when I took the dual wheels off and I showed you the easiest way I do it, and then we put this Mulcher deck on. I'm probably gonna have to clean this deck out. It's probably loaded with wet grass under there now, and I think that'll be about it for this. The tractor runs real good since we rebuilt the engine, the top end. No complaints with that. I think finally this tractor's going to be okay. Because this tractor was nothing but trouble since the day I bought it. It was always something. It didn't have one happy moment. But it did very good snow plowing. We got no problems with that. I forgot to, for you newcomers, this one has the governor on it, and it came with it, and I just assumed leave the governor on it, which works good for the high grass. It just had gobs of power. It's got a 30 over piston in it, rings. I put in brand new piston rings. I didn't have to have it bored out. It was already bored out. I replaced one valve. We lopped the valves on it. It did very good snow plowing. It did pretty good today too. That's about it. I could just keep talking all day, and there's nothing really more to say. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope somebody got something out of it. And I'll see you all on the next one when we start doing the restoration on the 57 Gravely. Thanks for watching, and take care.